Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm just going to be going over what I went over in the last video, which is just breaking down a new art piece. As you can see on the screen, this is the art piece we're going to be breaking down. And as a breakdown, I'm just going to be going over the time lapse of this video of this artwork. And I'm going to be sharing my thought process of why I'm making these certain decisions as I go along. I'll be sharing tips along the way, and I'm going to be sharing the references that I used, and I'm going to be sharing as well how I come up with the idea and the composition and the steps along the way to creating an art piece like this. And hopefully if you're a new to around like an intermediate level of skill level as an artist, hopefully you could take something away from this video and grow artistically. But before we get into the first part of the video, as a quick introduction, my name is Anthony. I created the channel originally 3 years ago to document my progress from knowing absolutely nothing about art and just sharing my training and my progress throughout the years. And recently I have transitioned this channel into a channel to gather up artists who want to grow artistically, grow with God, and to use our artistic skills to reach people who otherwise wouldn't be reached through our artworks, to bring them into the light of God. That sounds awesome to you and you want to join us on this mission, consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's just get into the first part of the video. And here's just a quick breakdown of the art fundamentals required to even make an art piece like this. Obviously it's an illustration, so you're going to require just a bit of everything. Perspective to make sure that everything looks in order in the scene, and the composition I always put pretty high just because it is an illustration, and if the composition fails, everything else just fails with it. No matter if you have a very high skill level in all these other aspects, the composition really is like the base foundation for making an illustration and really for making any sort of art piece. I put the style pretty high because it's my style, so obviously it's going to be easy for me, and for somebody else it's going to be a lot harder to try to replicate this style. And the environment really isn't that difficult, I don't think, besides maybe like the flames and the water can be quite a bit difficult if you're not used to it. The colors, I think, in my opinion, are pretty basic. And the gestures and anatomy in this, I would maybe put a little bit higher, because as simple as it looks, I couldn't really find a good reference for the poses of the characters. So I had to work off of imagination, and as you see later on in the video, it was actually pretty difficult, and I did struggle a lot with it. And lastly, observation, just because we used a lot of references in this, so we're going to have a good foundation in being able to draw what we see, and also to move around the things that we see into different perspectives. So with that out of the way, let's just get right into the time lapse. Okay everybody, now it's time for me to share my process of how I go about making these art pieces. And the first thing I'll do is I'll find a Bible verse that really speaks to me first, and then what I'll do from there is, if I don't come up with an idea right away off of that Bible verse, I'll just either go on Pinterest or social media and look through a bunch of references until I finally get inspired to make something. The better and better you get, the more ideas that you'll be able to come up with. For example, just a few months ago, I did this exact Bible verse and I made this with it, but now that I'm getting better and I'm actually starting to make illustrations instead, now it gives me like a lot more freedom to convey a story, and I'm not reliant too much on my limited skill set. So after I have the Bible verse and I have some sort of composition in mind, I'll start making like a very rough sketch, and I'll start gathering references at this point. So right here, I used these references for the composition, and for the Bible verse I wanted to make some sort of sense of danger and chaos, and to have Jesus saving the character in this art piece. And I like turning the water like diagonally, because it gives this sense of instability and chaos versus if it was just straight up horizontal. At least that's how I see it. And for the flames, what I usually do is I do these on about 3 or 4 layers, and I'll put the reds all the way in the back of the layer, and then I'll work on a layer for the orange, and then I'll work on a layer for the bright desaturated yellow. And I do this all with a soft blend brush, and then I use the soft blend brush to smudge the paint and to make like a kind of like a triangle shape, like a sharp shape for the flames as well. And I used this reference for flames and for the smoke in the back. As you can see, the smoke is really just like a very dark red, and then you put like a little bit of a brighter orange on the bottom of it to show that there's some sort of volume and that it's reflecting the flames on the bottom. I'm still just trying to work in the composition at this point and trying to get the big details out of the way. So you can see I worked on the full background and part of the water. I don't know if this is the exact color of the water that I want to keep at this point, but at this point it doesn't really matter because I could just go back over it. And now I'm just kind of working to see on a different layer what works in terms of the sparks. And I didn't really like these sparks too much because they're kind of too distracting in my opinion, so I toned it down a bit. Right here again, I'm kind of just blocking in more of the composition and just working on the water. And I used some references to decide that I'm just going to make the water black, and then keep the blue in the part where the 2 characters are to keep the attention on the characters. And I also like the blue in the sea of black because blue kind of gives like a bit of hope and there's like a path that we're coming out of. Then I'll just continue blocking in, looking for references for the background on the left side of the screen, and I came across with this. And now I'm just kind of rendering the flames of the references I used, and I'm not very good at putting like the squiggles or the reflections on the water all the time. I don't know how to go about doing that sometimes. And I also found this reference of these flames, so I decided to add it to the water because again it just adds like a greater sense of danger and chaos that's going on. And this is where you need to know how to render things. And again, I'm using a soft brush and I'm working from the back in different layers from red, orange to yellow, and I'm making sure yellow is the most prominent part, the most prominent color in this subject. And I'm not worried too much about getting the shape of the flame perfect at the beginning. I really just trying to block in like the proportions and the gesture of the flame. Then I'll go in with the smudge tool and just fix everything up at that point. And again, just adding more rocks, and I like to add rocks that have a sharp shape language because typically when things are sharper, it gives more of a sense of danger as well. And I'm really trying to put emphasis on the danger in this art piece. And this is when I start blocking in the dragon using these 2 references, and also putting in the Bible verses. And I'm trying to get what color that I want to actually make the Bible verses. And now on a separate layer, I'm just going through and putting in the base colors of the dragon that I want. So I just went with a very dark red and black as well. And now that I put in the base colors, now I'm trying to go in with the details as well. And I'm just messing around with the different details and trying to get a sense of what I want to do with the dragon and its flames and the gesture I want to use. And I'm basically just putting in the details. This is the part where I really struggled because I don't really have any references for the characters, and so I'm just kind of trying to do it off of imagination. And I really struggle with this a lot, like what colors to make the character's skin, the gesture to use, especially because they're in water swimming, and then there's another. It's kind of a complicated gesture in my opinion, at least for me it was. And I sometimes have a really hard time making faces when it's like really small and I'm trying to simplify things, and like the brushes are a little bit too big to put in the details that I want. But so again, I'm just really struggling to get the characters in, but I managed to do it. And the good thing about this is that the characters are so small that there is like a good amount of like leniency to not having to make the characters like the most perfect. I just did the best that I could with the skill level I have, and this is what I came up with. That is it. That is how I made this art piece. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking for the algorithm. It does help a lot because this channel is so tiny, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.